Today, we are replacing an Elation Opti Tri Par power supply and fan. Tools that you need would be a 10mm socket wrench, a screwdriver, some pliers, and maybe something to cut wires with, the actual power supply replacement part, and the fan, 50mm fan. First thing we have to do is we have to take out the yoke. And how you take out the yoke is you take out the screw on both the left and the right side. First, you unloosen this part. Take your 10mm socket wrench. Oops. I loosen this area so we could actually pull this out. And just so we don't lose these screws, I'm going to put these two screws back in with the washers. Okay. Next, there are 3 screws that are holding the unit together. 1, 2, and 3. Take your screwdriver and just loosen the screws. I would use the electric drill, but I do not have a screwdriver that's thin and long enough to reach the screws inside. Now when taking this apart, there will be 2 things that will come loose. There's a little cap that's on this side. Then there's this metal U thing that's for holding the gel frame in. Be careful not to lose those parts. Alright. Take this thing apart. We're going to keep all the screws in, so we're going to put this off to the side right now. This comes out. There is a spring right here. Watch out and be careful and do not lose that. And the plastic part right here. It goes right here. Alright. This just comes out very easily like this. And now you have your 2 halves. Put that to the side too. Alright, replacing the transformer is pretty easy. I'm going to switch over to my Phillips screwdriver head. And we're going to take out this whole piece right here. 4 screws. The only reason why I know the transformer is blown on this unit is I've already tested it with another unit. And I've also tested it with a multimeter to know that there is no power coming out of this unit. You just take this and lay this to the side. Alright, while we have that out, we're also going to replace the fan on this unit too. This is an older fan. It's a good idea just to replace the fan where you're at it. To replace the fan, it's these 4 screws on the side that I'm taking out. This is actually holding the entire light together. And we also need to unclip this. That's what my without the knife. There we go. There may be a little bit of glue, but we're not too worried about the glue on this. Glue could just really quickly rip out. That's what's connecting the fan. And we're going to go ahead and take this one out, just so it's easier to pull the fan portion out. And when these 4 screws gone, just really slide this cover piece off. 2 wires will go through, and now we have full access to the fan. Now 4 screws for the fan. Don't need that fan anymore. Get the new fan out. And if you noticed before, you did not see the sticker on the fan, so we know it has to be this side down. We'll just put the fan back in its place. Put the 4 screws back in. Easily put the screws back in, but don't tighten too hard since the fan is made out of plastic. Now I like trusting my feel with a screwdriver better, so I'm gonna just confirm tightness with the manual screwdriver. Alright. Everything seems solid. Remember, just don't over tighten so you don't crack the housing of the fan. Put this back on. Stick the 2 wires back into the hole. Pretty simple so far. Not too many screws. Easy access. Now we're going to go ahead and put the screws back on the side. Just so you see what screws I am taking it apart again and putting back in. They're right there. those 4 screws are in. We could also start putting the fan back in and start putting these wires back in. They won't really be in the way of us putting the power supply in. Take our power supply, open it up, power supply out. And yes, this power supply does look slightly different because it's a newer version of the power supply. But the whole mounting locations are exactly in the same place. So it's an easy swap in and swap out. I just like to verify tightness again with a manual screwdriver. It's sometimes really hard to feel the tightness with the big screwdriver. Okay, got that in. Now you see, they do have slight changes in how everything was done. So what we are going to do is we are going to take this cable out. Originally, it had a exact cable that fits into here and then goes in here, but we don't need this anymore. So that goes through. This we can directly plug in up here to the slot. They include this cable for us. And it fits perfectly. Now the only difference right now is on this side. These exactly don't fit together. You can see that on this side. This can't fit in there. These can't fit in here. What we do need a small flathead screwdriver. Is to get it out of these Euro blocks. So what we'll do is we'll take this side out. We won't need that anymore. And we won't need this side anymore. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and push these pins out. Just so I could just have that slightly extra length, although it doesn't really matter. This is something I like to do. I could actually just cut the wires and restrip them. Let me see if I need to get the bigger screwdriver just to get that out real quick. Push in the pin, pulls right out. Push in this pin. And that comes out. Do not need this part anymore. And what happens is when I take those out, I just get a little bit closer in to where the wire is. But I don't need this part, so I'm just going to cut that. Don't need this part, I'm going to cut this too. And then I need to strip a little bit of the wire so I can enter it back into the Euro block. Oh, both wires are stripped. You don't want to strip too much. This Euro block is not exactly that big. Then I pull up my small screwdriver, small flathead again. Put these in place where the old one, where the wire that we took out was. And we can screw it back in and tighten it. There's that one. The other one. Okay. Everything should be tight. Give it a gentle tug, nothing comes out. Alright, now that we have everything in, we should at least just test it before we enclose the whole thing. My power supply that's hooked up to the 120. Now at this point, just be careful. Don't touch anything in here or you may have a chance to get electrocuted. So be very, very careful. And we do have life. Earlier this was not on. It wouldn't turn on. Just to test, make sure everything works, I'm going to take it to red, green, blue, 0, 0, 0. And let's just check, make sure I have every single color. Let's go back to I have full red. Next one. I've got full green. Next one. I've got full blue. Alright, seems like everything's going to work. Alright, I'm going to take this back off. Power back off. And now just put the light back together. Putting light also is relatively easy. I'm going to do a little bit of wire maintenance real quick. Sometimes I just don't like too much wire hanging around, so I'm just going to wrap that a little bit. And that's just for those wires. Okay? Oh, the other thing I need to check was I need to just make sure the fan is, I know you can't see the fan here, but I can see the fan down there spinning. So the fan is good and it is quiet. Alright, now let's put this back together. Okay, first, take the whole part, put the base back up. You see this up right here should point to this thing, which is right here. So it's going to point this way for me. I'm going to line it up and just place it here where that up points to this end. I'm also going to place this kind of back in here. Maybe you may want to place the base first in to where the, and then this does take a little bit of finesse. To just get everything lined up and everything turned the right way. It seems like I got that kind of situated. This I could just stuff back in here. And that would be fine. All the screws are in here. But before we put this part in, I have to remember to put the gel frame holder bar back in right here. For me, it's with the spring on top. Place this carefully in, lining up all the holes and all the screw holes. I still have all the screws in the holes since I never took the screws out. Just kind of make sure it just kind of fits in tight. I can hold it, it goes in tight. Looks pretty much lined up. Now you tighten all the screws. Alright, all these screws are in tight. That's in tight. That's in tight. Remember, we had a little cap that just goes right here. Just pops right in. There you go. Last step is to put your jump fittings back on. I'm going to switch back to my 10mm socket wrench. Take the screws back out. This again. Go. This back in its hole too. There we go. Now key thing is when you tighten this back up, you don't want to tighten them too tight, but just tight enough. Oh, that might be slightly too tight. There you go. Because you want this to maintain the tightness of the yoke. The rest is just, that's it, go forward and backwards. There you go, one more test. Let's make sure this works. We plug the power in. We see that works. I'm gonna go to the color modes. Okay. All right, red, yes. Green, yes. Blue, yes. All right, and now I'll test later to make sure the DMX works, but everything should work. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.